Well, technically except for mine. Alright. Guess this is the last one. Let's go. Let's get this over with.
Today is April 13th, 2000. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. All of our station's reporters have passed after contracting Radical 6. So have my... Excuse me. I've managed to keep us on the air until now. It's time for me to sign off. This concludes our broadcast day. I pray that someday our world can be clear. Goodbye.
Oh! No, not on screen! Man, I hate the Suicide Channel. New phone, who dis? Hello. This is some nice robes you're wearing there. Are you Snake? Akane?
It looks like the first step was successful.
You killed me.
Killed? Hey, I didn't kill you. I hit you with the butt of the knife. You're fine. Yes, you and Phi needed to experience a state of crisis.
Wait, then where's Phi?
Yes, I only told you about you, but we also needed Phi to jump.
Where is she jumping to? What the hell?
Now, you know what happens next, right? Correct. We will be leaving tomorrow, April 14th, 2029. We've nearly finished preparing your shuttle. Only a few last-minute checks and addition. You'll be traveling to Rhizome 9. Yes.
Who's in the third one?
Phi.
Phi's in
We
the
put
third
her
one?
into cold sleep. She appeared at our headquarters and That wasn't the Phi who jumped from point C, though. It was Phi before she jumped from point A to point D.
What?
In other words, she was following the same path you are, and she still is. Yes, the point C version of Phi is sleeping in that pod. She'll stay there for the next 45 years, sleeping in...
Why?
Correct. We can't do that. You haven't figured it. You have to spend the next 45 years. After arriving at Rhizome 9, you must master genetic engineering and artificial intelligence programming. Otherwise, you will be unable to create Kyle, Luna, and Lagomorph. And, of course, you will need to develop the chromatic doors and the bracelets.
Great. I need to do all the work to set up the game.
You will also be the person who summons Tenmyoji and Quark. Once you've completed all the preparation, January 25th, you will defrost Phi and carry her to the third AB room. Once you've done that, and you'll just go back 45 years.
Sweet.
You have to. If you don't, billions of people will die.
Got it.
Only you and Phi can save them.
Wait, where's Phi gonna be when she jumps back?
I can't do anything on my own. If this is going to...
Where's Junpei? Why can't we get him to help?
What do you mean? You'll both enter the Mars mission test site. I don't know. I'm sorry. I really don't know anything about what happens in there.
Damn.
We don't know how the Radical 6 escaped. We don't even know why it was there in the first place. That's why we need your help. You have the ability to jump through time and across parallel worlds. We need you to figure out what happened in that test facility. Things will be difficult, and I'm sure you will find yourself in a great deal of danger.
Right.
But I believe the two of you can overcome any obstacle.
Got it.
The 67-year-old version of you told me what happened. He wasn't able to stop the virus, so I suppose you could say you told me after you failed.
What?
That the test facility is full of traps.
Great.
There was one point. A woman's life was in danger.
Great.
You risked yourself for her sake and lost your arms and your right eye.
Great. I'm a robotic pirate! Oh no! Oh no!
Go have a look.
Oh no! Oh no. So you're telling me that's canon? The non-canon part is the non-canon part's me actually going back and solving the puzzle? Alright. So is that it? Oh. Oh no! 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 I did it again! Alright, so I'm a failure. I only get to see this because I did all the escape rooms on hard. Well, I mean, hard mode wasn't as hard as I was expecting, though. I thought it'd be like impossible hard.
I see you've finally woken up, Kyle.
Kyle?
Ah, yes, of course. You've only just woken up in this timeline. It's only natural for some of your memories to be missing.
Kyle Climb. So, I'm Dr. Climb? Zero Senior's clone?
What? How do you know that? Shouldn't you still be suffering from amnesia?
Oh no, I jumped into the wrong body.
What day is today?
January 27th.
Today is the... Akane has explained everything in the garden. And she drew a knife and attacked Phi. How long have I been asleep?
About 5 hours in real time. For them, it would have seemed like a little more than 2 hours.
So they still haven't been treated for their Radical 6?
No, they've all been given the antiviral. It just takes a while to have an effect.
I see. So the consciousness of the younger Sigma has gone back into the past. It should have happened right after Akane attacked Phi, right?
Yes,
Why am I here?
the doctor carried you back here. You were in the pod.
So the person you call the doctor is...
Yes, how do you know that?
Dio seems to have remained unconscious.
Yes, I've been administering Soparil when...
What about the others?
They've all gone off to Tenmyoji and Qua...
Oh, right!
So the sleepyhead's finally up, huh?
What are you two doing here?
You don't know where we are?
This is the upper floor of the pressure exchange chamber. The real one.
Mm-hmm.
We were just about to get dressed and head out.
You plan to return them? To Earth, I mean.
Yeah.
Sigma told us where we could find the shuttle that brought us here.
Junpei, you're gonna leave her here?
Well, guess he's not really the Sigma I knew anymore. He's Dr. Climb now, or Zero...
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Well... I'm just curious why you would choose to return to a devastated planet when you could stay here.
How's staying here gonna help? You aren't gonna say something idiotic about how we should wait here until Sigma changes the past, are you? You can't wait for something that's already happened.
You're right.
Grammar doesn't work that way.
Oddly enough.
Hell, nature doesn't. You following me? We've already lived through history. Sigma failed to keep the virus from getting out. About 45 years ago, Radical 6 created a pandemic, and whatever Sigma does in the past, history's not gonna change. In fact, it's because of what he did or didn't do in the past that we've got this past and present. Let me give you an example. Imagine a group of 100 motorcycles driving down an endless freeway. Eventually, they hit a junction. The road splits in two. One freeway continues off northwest, so one guy, let's go northwest. So they take the northwestern road. A semi driving the other way veers into their lane. 90 of them die. The surviving 10 are wounded. They don't stop though. They keep riding down that highway, and eventually they'd gone 10,000 miles. Then suddenly, some S, who had survived, he ends up back in his own body. He remembers, so what does S do? What anybody would, let's go northeast. That means all 100 of the bikers survive, and they all live happily ever after. That's what you're thinking, right? It's a great outcome for the 100 bikers that went northeast. But what about the 10 that went northwest and...
Huh? Wouldn't it be 9 people? I mean, S is mine.
Right. Okay. 9 people then. What happens to the reality they were living? Does it just disappear when S changes the past? It's not as if it was only bad things that happened during that 10,000-mile trip. Maybe one of them fell in love with a woman working at a gas station they stopped at and had a child. Maybe one of them picked up a homeless kid who joined them on their adventure. That 10,000-mile journey would be full of stories, friendships, farewell. The loss of those 90 lives is horrible, but what would rewriting their history mean? The 9 who survived lived full lives. How can it be right to just erase all that? The survivors overcame their own misery and loss and made the best they could of the hand they'd been dealt.
Interesting.
Isn't that worth something?
Sure.
Isn't that the best thing that humans can aspire to? Is there really any point to a world where everything is happy? Are people who struggle for a better life just idiots? Being human is about fighting, even when it seems hope. Are you saying that's worthless? If you're saying rewriting the past will erase all these other timelines, then whatever God wrote those rules can Look, I'm just... You get it?
Not gonna swear in front of the kid.
If Sigma changes the past, then you and Quark will never meet.
Is he right?
No, it's not gonna happen. We're here. Even if Sigma does change the past, we're not just gonna disappear or something.
Oh, then that means we get...
Good. Thanks, kid.
I understand how you feel. Why you want to return to Earth is clear. You have lives there, I imagine. There are likely people waiting for you.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Have you already said goodbye to the others?
Bye, Luna, Alice, and Clover all saw us. We told them we'd see him again someday, and then came here.
They were the only people you want to say goodbye to?
No point saying anything to Dio.
Besides, he's asleep. You were asleep too.
Sorry, but we...
You have a point. Akane was in the armor, and what about Sigma?
Well, he's not real.
He is Dr. Klein now that his...
Yeah, but more importantly, he's the guy. Not a lot of warm feelings.
Don't you want
And
to say goodbye to
Akane?
Akane?
Never mind her. She's just like him. Not the Akane I knew. She must have seen some pretty awful things over the years. Hell, she might not even be human anymore. But the Akane Kurashiki I know isn't here. She's not anywhere.
Poor Junpei.
In the end, Clover and I were just pawns. Pawns to be used and then gotten rid of. Still, it's not like we were completely resentful. We had to be here to help change the past. That part's easy to understand.
Correct.
But
Kinda sucks, though.
Mhm.
I mean, Sigma and Phi have it easy. They get to go back to December 25th in 2028. They'll stop the Radical Six and save the world. In other words, they get to go back to Point E and just enjoy history like it was supposed to happen.
we don't. We're stuck with Point C as our starting point.
You told us about Tenmyoji's story, right? The one with the motorcycles? It would be like if Alice and I were kidnapped right before the intersection. Then whoever grabbed us takes us to wherever the bikers are going, 10,000 miles to the northwest.
Don't get us wrong. We know why we had to be here. Without us, S's consciousness wouldn't have been able to go back to right before the intersection.
If that couldn't happen, then the fate of those 90 dead bikers would be sealed. But
It's still not the best situation for those of us left in the Northwest. We're stuck in the reality where the 90 bikers died.
are we just supposed... And what about our friends and families?
Even if it is for the...
It just does...
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you can't
So
get
we
the
went and
sick.
talked to the...
She told us that there...
One way we could get back to the past.
Let's say you do go back. Wouldn't that cause your minds to get thrown back here? That seemed to be how Sigma and...
Yes.
But this is different.
Different.
From what she said, it sounds like there's a way we...
It would create a paradox. How could you have 2 Clovers?
But that wouldn't happen.
Akane says there's a
How on earth?
Schrodinger's?
cat.
What? How are you going to use the cat to travel backwards in time?
Oh, hey, Kyle. Figured you'd come here eventually.
Where's Dr. Klein? Luna said you were with him.
He said he was tired, so he's off resting, right? There's a bedroom at the end of the hallway. He's in there if you're curious. Oh, right. He told me to turn on this hologram projector. Want me to start it?
Sure.
Glad to see you. There isn't anything in particular that I have to tell you. However, I imagine there are a great number of things weighing on your mind. I'd love to answer all your questions, but I hope you can forgive me. Everything I know, Phi should also know. I have instructed her to answer anyone other than Kyle, that is.
What? Why won't you answer my questions?
What does he mean?
Who knows? Is there anything you want to add?
Right, I guess I may as well cut to the Just who are you, Phi?
I'm not Superman, that's for sure.
And you're not
And
Batman.
I'm not Batman or Spider-Man. I'm not a Brahmin or Common or Ramen. I'm not a Cayman either, so you really don't need to worry about anything.
Please don't dodge the question. About 5 hours ago, that triggered something which sent... Specifically, you were sent to Point D, April 13th, 2029. On that date, your body was already in Akane's custody. Although by then, you were in cold sleep. You wouldn't have regained consciousness, but your mind was now inhabiting that body. That pod was your home for 45 years. You slept there. Then on January 25th, even though you didn't wake up, still unconscious, that was when a version of you from December 20... and sending you back to December. This is when you finally woke up. In 2028, you found and joined forces with Sigma, whose older mind was inhabiting his younger body. Together, you attempted to infiltrate the Mars mission test facility.
I see.
Unfortunately, your plan failed. The Radical Six did escape on New Year's Eve. That failure determined the path you followed. Instead of going along the line that branches out to the right, Point D being April 13th of the following year. That was the day that you made your way to Akane's hideout and asked to be put in. Another consciousness enters your body. It is, of course, the version of you that left your body when This caused the two versions of him. You moved 45 years into the... That put you on the line. So if we discount the time for you, only 3.5 months have passed since that happened. That being when you were... Have I missed anything?
No, everything you...
What do you...
I'm kind of an unknown variable in this equation. You could think of me as a kind of X factor. It's taken me the last 3.5 months to understand it.
I haven't understood anything in the last 3.5 seconds. Could you please explain?
It's kind of like the relationship between classical mechanics and modern physics. Strictly speaking, you can't combine velocities with v1 plus v2. v1 plus v2 divided by 1 plus v1 times v2 over c squared is the actual equation.
I don't care.
Of course, the sort of velocities we encounter in day-to-day life don't come close to being c squared, which is the speed. That means that 1 plus v1 times v2 divided by c squared is usually going to evaluate to something pretty close to 1. Since that would mean dividing by 1, it's usually okay to just skip that step and use v1 plus v2. You see what I'm saying? In most situations, it works, even if it isn't technically correct. So you knew enough to get the stuff you were talking about right. As long as you stick to that, you won't run into any problems.
I don't quite... In fact, I feel like you're dodging my questions.
So was that what you wanted to ask about?
No. What I really want to know is what happened between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028. You and Sigma infiltrated the
Yes.
What happened there? How did Sigma lose his eye and both his arms? And why was Radical 6 in there in the first place? What could a deadly virus have to do with the simulated mission to space?
Sorry, but I...
Why?
Because it would change history.
What?
There is a history where the virus didn't escape. That's the line that goes to the right of Point E. In that timeline, humanity isn't heading for annihilation, and Earth isn't red.
Why can't you tell me?
The future is much brighter. But if I tell you what you're asking me right now, then that reality will disappear. You understand?
I don't. Why would all of that...
You're about to go back to the past, right?
What?
The past? Don't be silly. I can't do that.
Then where the hell did you learn all this stuff? I just listened to you tell me a bunch of things you shouldn't have known about. You were sleeping in the pod and So how can you know all? You know my past.
What am I?
I shall give you your... You are not Your body is Kyle's. Think about, do you really, or could you be?
Then, where is the real?
He was thrown right now, in a manner of his consciousness. I doubt you know how he raised Kyle is. Do you really think he would go back to the past and leave Kyle behind here? I know what I told the others, that Kyle was Dr. Klein, but that was... Kyle's consciousness is integral to what we are trying to accomplish.
What?
This new mission begins on Christmas and ends on New Year's Eve 2028. Its purpose will be to infiltrate. For this to happen,
And that is why he created him?
yes,
So now that my consciousness has entered his body, the Dr. Kyle has gone back to 2028.
correct.
There's one thing. Kyle was created before reaching point B from point D. That means his body did not exist. Does that mean he has entered my body? Have we just switched places?
I suppose.
That's ridiculous. What's going to happen to me? You telling me I have to spend the rest of my life here in this box, living in a borrowed body?
No, you can travel freely through time and space. You are an uncontrolled as such.
I have...
Please don't try. I know what you are. Surely you must know by now, too.
Sure?
You are about to go into Phi and Sigma. Even with all of his future knowledge, only you can... Only you... Yes, you have to. Don't you want to know what...
Well, yes, I...
Then you must. Reality is shaped by what we believe reality should be. If observation can change the motion of a particle, then how is it odd to think that human thought can shape reality?
Whoa.
Your will can change history. The world will be reshaped into the one you imagine. Remember what I've told you. Only you can save the world.
Can I prevent forest fires? Is that a no? Is that it?